A very warm good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 190th session of Centa's webinar series for teachers. I hope all of you are keeping safe and staying healthy. The topic for today's webinar is Comprehensive Guide on Art Integration in Classrooms. And the facilitator for this session is Dr. Indira VMD. A very good evening to you, ma'am. A warm welcome to you for this session. Before I hand over the session to our facilitator, Dr. Indira, a brief introduction about our facilitator. Dr. Indira is a former agricultural scientist turned out educationist. She is also a Bharatanatyam dancer. She used to learn math by dancing. Her foray into education was by teaching dance to children with learning disabilities and special needs. Gradually, she began including other forms of art into teaching school curriculum. She is working in the field of education since the past 15 years. She is also a poet and writes under the pen name Ira Periyavallur. Currently, she is working with Centa as a senior associate for assessments. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Before I hand over the session to our facilitator, Dr. Indira VMD, I would like to inform all the teachers that they will receive participation certificates for the session. So please do fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you towards the end of the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Harsha ma'am, for the beautiful introduction. So, art integration in classrooms. Now, of course, all of us know what is art. We, to some extent, know what is art integration also. But before we move on with what is art and what is art integration, how it can be used in the classrooms, please share what is your favorite form of art. If all of you could share it in the comment box, which would be really nice. Now, all of us have got different favorite forms of art. Some of them it is dance, some of them it is dramatics, for some of us it's writing, then speech or craft, painting, lot of different kinds of art, right? Yes. Yes, Chandaji, your favorite form of art is painting. Craft work and music, says Ritika Sheth. Nice. Divine dancers say it is dancing. Of course, divine dancers. Pooja says they are movies. That's interesting. So now, when we come to integrating art into the classroom, what exactly it is? It is taking different forms of art and making it the primary pathway to learn a particular topic or a subject. It can be any art under the sun. Okay. And what is the objective? The objective is not perfecting the type of art or perfecting the exact technicalities related to the art. No. Here, the objective is to make an engaging classroom, at the same time create a joyful environment for the children. Because when you're happy, you learn more. And when you're stressed, you learn to apply the same thing more. Right? So, moving on, what do you think? I'm just stopping my screen share. Now, I would like all of you to say what kind of art form can be integrated into the classroom and for what subject? If you all could share it in the comment box. What kind of art form can be integrated into the classroom and for what kind of subject? Which particular specific subject? So you have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wonderful. So Janaki ma'am says dramatics. Sorry, Janaki ma'am, I think 1 minute. I just need to scroll up. Yeah, she was saying drawing in math. Then we have a lot of different responses. Dance for physics, movements and motions, very correct. Graphic art for math. Then Sushmita ji says EVS. Then role play in biology, wonderful. Yes, I remember my bio sir used to do role play in biology. Then music for languages like tune for the poem. Yes, very correct. So that is, and as Nancy G says, you can use any form of art under the sun to teach any subject. It can be woodwork, it can be sculpting, it can be even cooking to teach any subject. It can be science, social science, math, history. Of course, history, geography comes under social science. Languages, storytelling is one of the most popular art forms used in teaching many, many different concepts. So, here, what I would be doing first is I'll be showing you some little samples, because art integration or integrating art into the classrooms is not something that can be taught. It is not something that can be trained upon. It has to be imbibed. How can we imbibe it? We have to inspire, we can show demos, you can show a few examples like I am doing today. So here is the first example. I will show this to you, and I would like all of you to please post your comments on what exactly I might be trying to show through this particular sample. Okay. So here, this is the sun, and these are some things that we all love, especially during summer. Ice cream, sun, and ice cream. Now try to put both together, sun and ice cream. What exactly am I trying to say? Yes, Advik ji, summer season. Very correct. So during summer, when the sun is hot, 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 you eat ice creams to keep ourselves cool, cool, cool. This is a gamograph for the very chuntu little ones, that is especially in the pre-primary and early learners or grade 1 grade 2, you can use this kind of craft to teach the different concepts about seasons, weather, and what are the different things we use in different seasons. For example, in summer, we use cotton clothing. When it comes to rainy season, we use raincoats and gum boots, etc. And these kind of samples can be done. Now, the same agamograph, you can use it for slightly higher children also. For example, this is another agamograph that I'll be showing you. Nona ate an apple from the apple tree. And what did she do with the seed? She buried the seed underground. Then what happened? Then from the seed came a small shoot. And from the shoot, you have a plant. And then what happened to the plant? The plant grew into a big tree having apples again. And again another Nona came. So now you answer my question. What came first, the tree or the apple? Yes, so this is storytelling in classroom, as well as the concept that I intended to cover is germination, life cycle of plant. From the seed, we have a shoot. From the shoot, it becomes a plant. From the plant, there's a tree. The tree bears fruits. And again, the cycle goes on. This is imbibing craft into the class, right? So here, if you had noticed, there were two forms of art that was integrated. One was storytelling, the other was craft. And it's very simple to make these agamographs. I'll show you a little bit towards the end of the session how it is done. Okay. Now, plant life cycle, or for that matter, life cycle of a butterfly, life cycle of frog, even water cycle, All these things are in the primary section, right? Up to grade 4. Even grade 5 also we have a little more in detail, right? Now, when it goes to slightly more higher grade, say for example, grade 6, 7 and all. Typically, I'm highlighting grade 6 and 7 because personally for me, those were very difficult years when it came to learning. I used to find the concepts really tough to grasp. That is when, that is one of the times when dance came in handy for me. And this is how I learned. Of course, I learned addition also the same way. That story some other time. But yes, this was one of the times that dance came in handy, especially when I tried learning fractions. Okay, so here is one example. Now, in this little example, what I would like all of you to do is keep answering my questions through the chat box. I'll give you 5 seconds to answer the questions. Okay. And I'm integrating dance, but here, since I really cannot keep panning my camera to show my footwork, I'll be trying to show it through my facial expressions. All right. So here is what I'm doing. Clap, clap, neck, 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 clap, up, down. Once again, I will show you the actions a little slower. This time, count how many steps are there for the actions. Okay, that is clap, clap, to neck, 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 3. 2 plus 3, 5. Clap. So 5 plus 1, 6. Up, down. That is up, down. 6 plus 2, how much? 8. Once again, I'll do clap, clap, neck, 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 clap, up, down. हो गया 8 actions I have, right? Totally 8. Yes, everybody, very good. Ritika ji, Neha ji, Anand ji, all of you, very good. Yep, 8 actions. Now you have to count how many times I am clapping. Okay, clap, clap, neck, 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 clap, up, down. How many times did I clap? Once more, I'll repeat. Clap, clap, neck, 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 clap, up, down. Yes, I clapped 3 times. 3 claps out of how many actions were there? There were 8 different steps. That is 3 out of 8. हो गया ना एक fraction? What is 3 out of 8? It's a fraction, right? Need I say anything more? Now let's do something more. Okay. Now you have to tell me how many times I'm doing up. Okay. I'm repeating the same action. Clap, clap, neck, 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 clap, up, down. How many times did I do up? 2. Is it 2? 1, yes. It is 1 out of 8. There comes our concept of fraction. The most simple thing. We don't know how much out of how much. So especially for the kinesthetic learners, 1 up out of total 8 actions. That is a fraction. Okay, now another thing. 1 out of 8. Where did 1 come? 1 came in the top or in the bottom? It came at the top or bottom? Quickly, quickly. I'm waiting for your replies. 1 out of 8. Yes. Vinodji, Manjiji, correct. 1 came at the top and 8 came at the bottom. So that 1 at the top is called as the numerator and denominator. Numerator, denominator. Need I say anything more? This is your action fraction. With this was one thing which I found that children could very quickly pick up. Yes, for the lower grades, we use that pizza shading and that circle shading and square shading and everything. But as they grow bigger, they forget all this. Many times it happens. Okay, and personally for me, this was one of the ways I had learned fractions. Now, moving on. Yeah, thank you, Bharti ji. Thank you, Vindhya ji. Moving on, I shall once again move on with sharing my screen. And this time you have to please bear with me because as you can see, there are a lot of different arts that can be used. Sculpting, writing, paper mache, cooking. How we use cooking, I'll narrate that at the end of the session. Okay. Now, here is one of our personal favorites called my red sunflowers. Have you heard of a red sunflower? I hope not, because I know there are a lot of hybridization experiments happening. But typically, a sunflower is yellow. But what happened to this sunflower, some of the petals turned red. Some petals, if you can see the image on the right hand side of the screen, it turns slightly red. If any one of you can, you want me to show the previous slide, ma'am, please wait for 5 minutes. I'll just show you. Okay. We'll just finish this and then we'll go back to the previous slide. Okay. Now, if you can see anybody, especially science teachers, please try and guess what can be seen from here. What could be the thing? Why is there that? Why do we have some of the sunflower, some of the petals on the sunflower a little bit red? Okay, Vinodji says they feel too hot. Okay, that's a nice answer, but that is not the correct answer that I am looking for. Komalji says pigment. Okay, little more. Dipali ji has come very close. Litmus. Very correct. So, here, I'll just turn on the laser pointer. Yeah. If you look at the picture on the left hand side of the screen, this particular sunflower was painted using turmeric. Okay, turmeric, haldi. Okay. And the sunflower, some of the petals that you see on the sunflower on the right, it's the same sunflower. What we did was, what my students and myself, we did was to mix detergent and then paint those particular petals in with detergent. So when we painted it with detergent, it was the acid base test that came in. And then one of my very beloved students made one more discovery. What she did, she painted some of the petals with lemon juice. So it changed back to yellow color. This is one very, very effective teaching strategies to show that chemical changes result in formation of a new substance. It's also another effective strategy to help children identify acids from the bases. Okay, when you actually, especially for whether it be kinesthetic learners or visual learners, they all enjoy this and this stays in their memory forever. At least that's what my research so far has said. It stays in the children's memory. They're able to relate to it because that's an art which all of them enjoy. Yeah. Instead of course, there are some other techniques wherein I have seen some teachers, they cut the lemon with a detergent laden knife. Okay. So then what happens, or rather, I think they dip the knife with uh, turmeric, they rub turmeric on the knife, and then they cut the lemon. So again, it's like, the knife is murdering lemon or something. So that is one, another effective technique. Personally, for me, I found this very effective. So there are lot of different techniques. Yes, as Komalji says, invisible ink. That is another teaching strategy where, or rather, I would not say teaching strategy. It's more like an experiential learning, wherein you integrate art into the lesson. You bring the concept into the lesson through art. Okay. Now moving on. This is something which I hope the French Revolution, or rather the history teachers, would like. This is French Revolution, and some of my students, when we tried art integration, we wanted to do something different. Dramatics was tried and tested for a very long time. Then we tried storytelling. Everything was tried and tested. So then we came up with this idea of designing, fashion designing. And what one of my students did was to create this entire gown. In the gown, in place of the designs, what they did was to highlight the main events of French Revolution, right from King Louis' abdication of the throne to King Louis' execution, and then moving all the way up to rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay, if you can see, what I'll do is, yeah, towards the end of the class, I'll also, end of the session, I mean, I'll also show you a zoomed in version of the same picture. Or rather, if you can see right now, everywhere all the keywords are written. Like, for example, Robespierre rule, then the rise of Bonaparte. On the lady's right hand side is a placard showing human rights, because that's what the entire French Revolution was all about. And it is termed as the mother of all revolution, because a fight for diplomacy, fight for a republic, everything began from French Revolution. Moving on, this was yet another stunning example of art integration in one of the classrooms. Now, last, now here again, this is just a recap of all the LOs that were used or for French Revolution. That is tracing French Revolution all the way from the monarchy to Napoleon, then analyzing all the important events of French Revolution, etc. Here, this is one of the classic examples of art integration that I personally have come across. I hope you all can listen to it. Give me a moment. So, here, when I'm playing this, I would like all of you to respond towards the end. What exactly, or which particular incidents of Indian struggle for independence this music piece is portraying? Yes, as most of you guessed it correctly, like Sushmita ji and a lot of you, Shruti, then many of you, Ritika ji, all of you have guessed it correctly. Surbhi, it is Jallianwala Bagh. So, although most of you said it is Punjabi Bhangra, yes, of course it is Punjabi Bhangra, but it is portraying Jallianwala Bagh incident in the classroom. So this particular project was done by students from UWCC of Singapore, and their project was to portray any incident from the Indian struggle of independence using only and only instrumental music. So this was one of the classic examples of classic examples of art integration, which I personally found quite interesting to share. And also, it was quite effective when it came to a live classroom, displaying in a live classroom. Moving on from here, now we reach towards the end of our presentation. I very in all it is a huge heartfelt gratitude towards UWCC of Singapore, Chinmay Vidyalaya Banshankari of Bangalore, New Learning Ladders Bangalore, Woodland Park UAE Ajman, and of course Center for providing this wonderful opportunity. And I throw this floor open for questions. Please type any questions you have in the chat box so that we can definitely answer and we can try to introspect. One thing about art integration, which I would like to personally share, is that it is not something that can be trained, it is not something that can be taught, it is something that has to be imbibed into. If there is any art that you love, you personally like, please try and integrate teaching your favorite subject to your students using that particular form of art. Yes, children would love it because it's innovative, and at the same time, everyone would like to, they would always register it in their memory. Yes, Ritika is saying, show the first slide. Okay, I'll run through all the slides one by one. Okay. And can you teach the craft you did? Yes, I will definitely show you the craft. 1 minute. First, I will show that slide. Please give me a moment. I'm just sharing my screen. I'm going back from, yeah. So I suppose this is the slide that most of you want. Please let me know. Thank you, Bindya ji. Okay, so some of you, as I read the questions, Himakshi ji is asking, how can we merge math subject with art integration? Madam, you can very well do that. I'll give you one small demo. Can I just stop presenting so that I can go full screen? If it's a yes, please show that. Please type a yes if it is okay. If I can stop presenting, so that I can show you how math can be integrated. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So now I'll just take this a little back. Okay. The simplest way is to show geometry right now. Okay. And otherwise, we can show trigonometry also through art integration. You can use Lego blocks and all. So, this, yeah, I'm at the center. This becomes a straight line wherein I have stretched out my hand completely. This is a straight line. Okay. That is, now if imagine you have kept a protractor right across on my nose. Okay. What will this be? This complete thing, it will be a 180-degree, right? This, now my right and left hand are at right angles to each other, 90-degree, that is their perpendicular, right? Now, another interesting way is if I'm going a little across. So, or for example, I'm taking one corner of the screen to the other corner. Okay, I'm not able to touch the corner much. Yeah, again. This becomes something like a diagonal. Okay. Yes, of course. Now, internet is one limitation, but yes. I'll just adjust my camera a little. If I'm showing this, it becomes a diagonal. This is one form of art integration. Okay. At the same time, there are a lot of different geometrical angles, different geometrical shapes that you can show. I'll give you one interesting story. This is my personal story on how I learned dance, or rather, I learned math, addition specifically. So, in my KG and I think somewhere in my first or second standard, they introduce addition, right? 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Now, my teacher wrote on the board 1 plus 1 equal to 2. And she also kept on saying 1 and 1 equal to 2. Okay. I'm not at all blaming my teacher. I'm not at all blaming my teacher. But what happened was, now, linguistic skills run really high in me. At least I claim that I have very good linguistic skills. Okay, so I could relate the grammar part. Then I said, if it is 1 and 1 equal to 2, how can that be? Because 1 and 1 means there is 1 and another 1. So 1 and 1 is 11, right? I used to get terribly confused. I could never understand. And as a small kid, I always used to keep dancing everywhere. I still do. And so my parents took me to the dance class. There, the teacher, it was Bharatanatyam dance, the teacher asked me to tap my feet. And she was showing me, so I'll just show it with my hand. Imagine these are my feet, okay? She said, now this is my right hand and this is my left hand. She said, okay, tap right, left, right, left. As a Bharatanatyam dancer, that's the first step you learn. Then the second step, you do 2 times right and 2 times left. So how will it be? Right, right, left, left. Again, right, right. And now came that idea. Oh, so right, Right, that means you're tapping your right leg 2 times and you're tapping your left leg 2 times. That is how 1 and 1, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. This is when my batti jala, as you say in English, sorry, in Hindi, as you say in Hindi, batti jal gaya. And that is how I began learning math. Even all the different shapes and Pythagoras theorem, everything, it was through math that I mean, it was through dance that I learned. Okay. And trigonometry, we can integrate Lego blocks. Those block games that come now, you make buildings and you make car and what do you call it as a dinosaur and all those kind of weird things using blocks. You make these using block and you demonstrate trigonometry, you apply trigonometry in that. For that, actually, we need a complete session on that. But yes, definitely we can do all of any form of art, in fact. So as I was saying before, cooking, one way that one of my students did in cooking was, what he did is, he loves cooking, and all about this atomic structure and all, everything was like sar ke upar se ud gaya, it was becoming aeroplane. So to understand Thomson's model, I'm sure all the science teachers would know, what does Thomson's atomic theory say? It says that there is a positively charged sphere in which are embedded the negatively charged particles. So my dear student, he made uttapa. He loves cooking basically. So he made uttapa and he put all different toppings on it, like tomato and chilies and whatnot. And he said that uttapa is the positively charged sphere, and all the toppings in it are the negatively charged particles. And that complete uttapa as a whole, it is a neutral atom. Yes, compared to that of watermelon. But what happened with watermelon, my student said, Madam, watermelon, you have seeds only at some particular places. It is not there below. So I will take Uttapa. I said, okay, you are able to imagine Uttapa, go ahead, enjoy. You take Uttapa, no problem. So this was one way of integrating electrons. Now, sorry, not electrons, cooking or art into chemistry or physics or biology, anything. Okay. Another, some of my students in UAE, what they did was, some of them, they came together and they actually wrote autobiography of an atom. Okay. So this was one of the lines that I can recollect. Like, I was discovered by, I was mentioned by the Greek philosopher Democritus, and also at the same time by Maharshi Kannad from India. And then I lay forgotten for a very, very long time, for up to 7 or 8 centuries. And later I was discovered, I was mentioned by John Dalton. And that is how they came up all the way up to atomic theory and what is an atom and how the progress happened, how each and every scientist proposed different theories. They wrote an autobiography on that. Imagine. And then they said atomic biography. This was yet another art integration technique. In physics, we can show, one is, of course, moment of inertia. You can integrate dance into the, especially ballet dance, then Kathak, you can integrate that. Another way is to draw the circuit diagrams using, you can make all, some of my students did that, but unfortunately I don't have samples. and some of them in series and some of them in parallel, and then they try to find the total resistance. So these are some of the ways you can integrate. Again, repeat, the intention is not at all perfection of the art. The intention is, yes, a small bit of exposure to the art, but more on the learning outcome. The objective is to learn the concept and not perfect the art. Hamsavardhini ji asks, are there any art forms to teach grammar concepts? Ayo Rama, so many. Storytelling. Okay. Plus, one storytelling, what you can do is, now, this is suddenly, since you asked me, suddenly I'm telling you. Yes, Hema Malini ji, I remember the craft activity. Wait. I'll just answer this and I'll definitely take the craft session. What I was saying, yeah, about the grammar activity, right? So this is what happened for some of the children for grade 1. They were children with specific needs. They were under the special education need department in the class in a particular school. Since we have inclusive classrooms, these children are taken for a specific period of time and they are given special coaching or specific sessions. Okay, so the concept was demonstrative pronouns. This, the, those, that. Okay. So what we did was we took a story. Now, the story was a very simple story about a honeybee and an elephant. This honeybee and the elephant, they both are good friends. The honeybee was sitting and crying one day. So the elephant came and said, "What happened to you? Why are you sitting and crying?" Honeybee said, "I lost my house. I lost the way to my house. I don't know where it is." So elephant said, "Don't worry. Let us try to find your house together." And the elephant and the honeybee, they go together and they first see flowers. The elephant asks, "Is this your house? Is this your house?" Can you find a demonstrative pronoun here? This. Is this your house? And the honeybee says, these flowers are beautiful, but this is not my house. This is where a butterfly lives. The elephant said, "Okay, chalo." They go, they go, they go, and they see a cave far away. Now the elephant asks, "Is that your house?" I repeat, "Is that your house?" And the honeybee says, "No, no, no. Can you see those bats flying? That cave belongs to those bats. Those bats live in that cave." Those, that. Again, demonstrative pronouns. Then they suddenly see a tree. And honeybee says, "Ah, Ellie, look at that, look at that. That tree is where my house is." So Ellie and the bee go there and they find this honeycomb is my house. This way we have demonstrative pronoun. Now this is just one example, very basic example I gave. Another you can have a set of cups, okay, with all different words written. Let the children rearrange the cups, make a sensible sentence, and then find which is a noun, which is adjective, which is a pronoun, everything. And somebody, Nehaji says, I have lost my way home. Nehaji, did you really lose your way home? But actually, this particular story that I just narrated is a story from Storyweaver. Okay, storyweaver.org. It's an open source platform that is a plethora of stories for all different age groups. You can use that. Okay. Also, story writing is another effective way of translation in languages. Okay. You can ask the children to translate a particular story from Hindi to English, English to Malayalam, Malayalam to Tamil, or Tamil to English, any language that develops the linguistic skills. So, one thing that was followed by the school um, called New Learning Ladders, they had to read a story in English and then translate that story to their mother tongue. So this was one very interesting way wherein children also they get practice on their mother tongue as well, because nowadays the mother tongue is highly ignored when it comes to the domestic environment, right? So this was one thing. And yes, before we leave, I'll quickly show you this particular craft. Okay. Um, I don't know whose book this is, but I'm just tearing a page from this book. So for this, it is called as agamograph. Agamograph. Okay. For that, what you need is you need two sheets. Okay, I have two sheets with me, and I first fold it into half. I fold it into half. I make one more half. That is 1/4 basically. Okay, I made it into 1/4 and I opened it. Once again, I'll just show. I folded this entire sheet in half. I made 1/4 and I opened it. Now from this side, I just fold from both the ends. Okay, so once I open, I'll get two sheets that are like this. Okay. I take one sheet, I keep it aside. फिलहाल भूल जाओ इसके बारे में. And I take the other sheet. This one half, I just fold it and I tear it. So I got two sheets. Now what I'm going to do is, if you can see, there are these folds, right? Every fold, I'm just going to write it as A1, A2, A3, and A4. Like this. And the same thing on my other sheet also. The other half. B1, B2, B3, and B4. Okay. Then I draw whatever picture I want on A. For example, I drew a flower. This imagine, please, I highlight the word imagine, this is a flower. And on my B, I draw, say, maybe a sun or another flower. All right. Then what I have to do is I'm supposed to cut strips. Okay. So I'll just show my presentation. Now, I have cut strips. If you can see, I have written A1, A2 like that. I'll just take this cursor. So I've written it as so here, if you can see, it is all alternate. Okay, that is A1, and then comes your B1. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, this is better. A1, then is your B1. Then comes A2 and B2. A3, B3, A4, and B4. So what I do is I just cut these into strips and I stick them as alternates on the first sheet. Okay, remember the first sheet has got all alternate, that is A1, B1, then A2, B2, A3, B3, A4, and B4, like this. So I'll just stick it. Once I stick it, it comes like this. I'll just play one video that will give you a better picture of this entire thing. And I promise I won't take long to play that video. Please give me a minute. Yeah, this is the video. If you can see the number, and this is of that same, apple tree that I just demonstrated. This is a complete video on that with all the strips stuck alternate. And also you find a lot of YouTube tutorials on this. You can type it. I repeat the spelling. It is AGAMOGRAPH. Agamograph. Okay, and you can actually demonstrate anything. If for the higher grades, in fact, you can try to demonstrate what do you call it as uh, this thing, electron revolution on using a gamograph. I also try to make it, but it needs quite some bit of calculations and engineering. But yes, you can definitely do that. All right. So I hope all of you found this session informative. There is also a book coming up on this particular, a comprehensive guide towards art integration. It would be released very soon, somewhere in the month of May. We have just applied for the ISBN code. So definitely do keep a watch. Once a book is released, I'll definitely let everybody know. Thank you so much. I hope all of you integrate this into your classrooms, and please do share your feedback. Thank you. Thank you, Harshit.
Indra ma'am, there is one more question from Suma. Suma ma'am, she's asking about the time, quarter past, half past, etc. How to teach. Can you please show a demo, or can you please explain how it can be done?
Oh, yes, sure, sure. So, now since Suma ma'am asked, like this was one of the steps I showed in Bharatanatyam. Okay. It went like this. Of course, all the Bharatanatyam teachers and those who are watching Bharatanatyam dance, they can always see this. So this is very much Bharatanatyam. First, I'll show it in Bharatanatyam, then I will show it in other, a free style form. So it goes like this: center, then 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I'll just take down my camera. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock is right up. Okay. So in Bharatanatyam, we actually go as Teyyum. Tat, tat, They, he, yeah, the. So this is how, but technically, this is how I taught my children this particular step, this particular adavu, even in Bharatanatyam. When it comes to freestyle, you can actually show this. Okay. In ballet, we have this particular position. So it's like 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and when you do a pirouette, that is a turn, 12 o'clock. And another way I saw one of the teacher, not one of the teachers, one of the dancers doing was yogasana. She had actually integrated yogas into dance. She was actually performing dance, but she was showing all the different numbers through yogasana. You can integrate like that. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Harsha, ma'am. Any
Thank you.
other questions?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for the reply. What about using the art integration in algebra, ma'am? Any algebra?
Um, yes. So in algebra, what we can do is one of the movements become an unknown variable. Okay. It will take quite some time for me to show it in a way, but one of the movement, or rather, you can take one of the foot movements as a variable. Okay. Or you take footsteps. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 is that is wait, I'll try to show like this. I don't know how effective that's going to be. Imagine these are my feet again. So 1, 2, 3, straight line, and then 1, 2, 3, again a straight line. We don't know what is hypotenuse. A square plus b square is equal to c square. So this was one thing that's more of geometry, but again in algebra we can use it. I have done it, but right now suddenly I'm not able to relate, or rather come back to it. It needs a bit of revision. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Indira VMD, for a very engaging and informative session for our community of teachers. I'm sure that our teachers have got a lot and lot of takeaways from this session. Thank you so much, all the participants, for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit my center. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you to all the participants.